Hi, I'm Sailor Moon, and I'm Queen Beryl. Are we doing this right or are we doing this wrong? I don't know. Anyway, and today what we're going to talk about is that why we don't use Google Hangout anymore. Well, I think we already did make the movie talking about that. But today's movie is really going to be about, how we dealt with our haters. You know, whoa. When you're on YouTube, you're going to come across men and women who don't like what you do and they don't like your movies you know, and we already talked about that. So I'm not really sure what we should talk about, you know. Some might think, oh, we're running out of wins, things to talk about. But okay, so here it is. In 1998 AD, there was another attempt to make a Sailor Moon series. Okay, this was actually called Team Angel, and it was supposed to be a group of angels, who, saved men, who helped men and women out of binds that Lucifer put them in. And it was done by Bandai. Now, only the trailer is the only thing I ever saw, since that show never ever saw the light of day. And how did I even know that this even been or be? Somebody on YouTube actually made a movie talking about this. And what I think is that there were already two attempts of doing a North American take on Sailor Moon. If you overlook, the first attempt was done by Toon Makers, and this second attempt was actually done by Bandai themselves. Now, did it have anything to do with Sailor Moon? No, I don't think so. It was just the fact that it was an all-woman team. I think it's basically what it was, And it was and it was made by Bandai, I think in 1998 80. I don't think anybody ever picked it up, And there's not really that much about Team Angel. That's what they called it. And I'm sure if somebody looked it up, they might find some information on Team Angel, but there really isn't that much out there. And as Sailor Moon put it, the only reason why I think they claimed it was another attempt of doing Sailor Moon was the fact that it was an all-woman team, as Sailor Moon put it. After the Toon Makers experiment didn't do very well, and there were sundry points to why that didn't work, Bandai felt that they could try to do another show. Now, if Team Angel had anything to do with Sailor Moon, I really don't know. Maybe it was just an all-woman team who helped men and women out of binds that they were put in. But at the end of the day, I don't really think it had anything to do with Sailor Moon beyond that. Now, some men and women might say that that was all it really was, and why we're even talking about it. Some people claimed it was another lost North American attempt of doing Sailor Moon, but I think the only Sailor Moon out there that they tried to do was Toon Maker Sailor Moon, and that was it. That was probably the only Sailor Moon out there that granted of all its binds and granted of all its, flaws, was probably the only closest thing to getting a North American version of way of Sailor Moon. But at the end of the day, that didn't work out, and Team Angel certainly did not work out either. You're right, Queen Beryl. It was like every time somebody tried to do another take on Sailor Moon, unless it was actually some dubbed, it never worked. Oh, sorry, it's sad. I mean, it never worked. I mean, everyone probably had some way of Sailor Moon. Tune makers tried and it didn't work. And Bandai was doing this Team Angel FORESEER show that never saw the light of day. And I wouldn't have even known about it unless someone on YouTube actually talked about it and showed the trailer. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I don't really think it had anything to do with Sailor Moon, except it was made by Bandai, and Bandai was the maker of the dolls, and that's it. I don't really think it had anything to do with it. You know, it wasn't based or adapted it or taped from any of Naoko Takiguchi's other books that she made. I don't really think anything to do with Toei, you know, but it is what it is. I mean, there was just a trailer and no one knows anything about it beyond that. And just like Toon Maker Sailor Moon, the Team Angel series only had a trailer. Some could call it a teaser, I guess, if you wanted to. But at the end of the day, it didn't see the light of day, you know. And I think the only point to why some would say it was another attempt of doing another take on a North American way of Sailor Moon was the fact that it was just all women, you know. And I think that's all it was. You know, someone just made that connect, you know, and the fact that it was made by Bandai, that was it. That was the truth. It was made by Bandai, and that's it. And you're right, Sailor Moon. I think the only point to why many men and women would even say it was another lost North American Sailor Moon was the fact that it was made by Bandai America and the fact that it had an all-women team, you know. And I think that if anyone back then made a show with all-women team, they could classify it or try to call it a Sailor Moon-like show. But it didn't have anything to do with Sailor Moon. You know, there was nothing there that somebody could look at and say there's similarities. I mean, at least with Toon Makers making Sailor Moon, there were a lot of things in it that was still, you know, it was Sailor Moon. There was a lot of, you know, things in it that you could see and say, yeah. But when it came to Team Angels, there was nothing in there. I mean, that was it. So it is what it is. It would be like making another show out there and calling it another way of the Power Rangers when it had nothing to do with the Power Rangers. Well, the same thing with Team Angel is Team Angel had nothing to do with Sailor Moon. I'm Sailor Moon. I'm Queen Beryl. We'll see you later.